So today I'm going to be talking about the Sunbolt Chronicles by Intisar Kanani. This is book one, Sunbolt. This is a Kickstarter back campaign. It's very, very pretty. Got some nice end papers and some nice sprayed edges. So this is the main character. Her name is Hitomi. She is what's considered a wild promise. Promises are young mages who are going to be trained. She is a wild promise, which means she has not been formally trained by anybody. And so she is in a town. It's kind of like an island city state almost called Caroline, which is being run by Archmage Blackflame. So he is a bad mage and he is in charge of that area and all of their magic. And so if she was discovered to be using magic, being untrained, she would get sent to him and they would be tried by the Mages Council. So the Mages Council runs the way magic is used in the world, and they do not like wild promises. And so what they would do is either take their magic away from them or sell them into slavery, to where other mages would use their magic basically until they die. And so Hitomi, her whole purpose is working with the Shadow League to try to not really overthrow per se, but to get Archmage Blackflame kicked out, because he is a bad person who is kind of doing political stuff with the Sultan in charge of Caroline, and he has a lot of sway on the Mages Council, and so they want to prevent him from interfering more into their politics. So the Shadow League works to undermine Archmage Blackflame, and Hitomi works with the Shadow League. So the book is pretty interesting. There's a lot of different creatures in it. You have shapeshifters who can shapeshift into tanukis. You have dragons. You have fangs, which are basically vampires. They can mesmerize people to do what they want you to do. And then you have breathers. Breathers are similar to fangs in that they feed on life source and on life force, and they can mesmerize people, but they are extra tricky because they can delete memories from people. And so mages especially do not like the breathers because of that aspect. So the first book is about 220 pages because it's 150 pages for the first book plus a 70-page novella that are all included in this one book right here. And so the novella takes place a year before the events of the first book, and it's basically how Hitomi ends up in the Shadow League. The first book is about Hitomi trying to undermine Archmage Blackflame, and ends up going through a series of events where she gets basically captured, and she ends up meeting different entities, like I said, the Fang and the Breather. And there's also a character named Val, who is a breather that she meets in the middle part of the book. And so her and Val work together to escape their predicament, and some crazy events happen at the end of the first book that end up leading to her memory loss. So the book overall, I would say I liked it. It was very quick. Again, it's 150 pages plus the 70-page novella. And I like the fact that it is fast-paced. There's a little bit of action, but it's still introducing you to the world. There's some good uses of magic, good uses of the different entities and what they can do. So it introduces you to all of that. There's also lichens, which are werewolves. So there's a lot of interesting aspects to the story. If you like strong, independent characters who will not get told what to do by other people or other entities, and they want to do their own path, then I think this would be a book for you. And if you like magic, I think the magic system is pretty interesting. They have different elements that each mage can kind of become specialized in. And you find out over the course of the books that people can be marked by these magics. And so if you're marked by the magic, you have like a special prowess with that magic, and you can do things that other people cannot do. And if you're marked by more than one magic, you can do even more special things, and so on and so forth. There's 4 overall that you can be marked by. And so it's very uncommon to be marked by more than one. So Hitomi has certain aspects to what she does in the 3 books that is kind of used by or helped by that aspect of her being marked. And so I would say the first book is pretty good. Like I said, the second book I think is even better. It's like 300 pages, but there's a lot more action in it. There's a lot more nuance to what's going on in the books, and there's a lot more, uh, kind of political intrigue in that aspect. And to me, the third book was a little bit of a letdown. There's events that happen in the second book that lead to Hitomi not being able to use magic in the third book. And for me, that's a bit of a letdown because magic is my favorite aspect of the books. And so her not being able to use it was a little bit of a letdown in that aspect. I would say another thing that I kind of had issue with is that through series of events throughout the three books, she ends up over the course of the books using different names at different points. And so she uses one name when dealing with her teacher and mages. She uses one name when dealing with the desert tribe. She uses another name when dealing with the judges. It's kind of a mess, and it almost ends up that she uses those fake names more than she uses her real name. And so I didn't really like that. But again, I think for me, first book was good, second book was better, third book was a bit of a letdown. It is 4-book series, so there's a fourth book that hasn't been published yet. So if you like young adult series, if you like magic, I think this would be a good book for you. One of the things I also liked about the book series is that it has Middle Eastern inspiration to it. So it's got the setting, the cultures, the languages, they're Middle Eastern inspired and Arabic. And I thought it was very, very interesting with the book. I feel like you don't really see that much, or maybe I'm just not exposed to that area that much. And so I like when it's a change of pace instead of being, Britain or America or some type of equivalent of those two in whatever fantasy world it is.